Hello, I'm Aubrey O'Hare, and this is the Go See the World podcast. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Jordan. Happy to be here.
We're working on that opening. This is a new podcast, and we are coming from Zihuatanejo, Mexico, on the 51 Formosa. We call the pirate ship, also known as Houdini. So we're doing something that we think is pretty cool, which is sailing around the world with a bunch of girls and a baby, and we're going into wind. So that's the short of the long of it.
Mm-hmm. That's what she said.
So a lot of people ask, like, how did you get started? Like, what was the entry point? How did you do it? This seems so crazy and wild. And when we set out to do crazy and wild things, we just kind of start with the first step to begin. And that's really how it started. The first day that I had stepped on a boat in the ocean was the day that I moved aboard, which is pretty crazy when I say it out loud. It's wild. But Jordan's done some pretty interesting stuff too. She has driven a lot of Mexico as a single gal. And what got you started?
Oh man, where do I start? I was ready for something a little less conventional. But I also lived in an area in the world, I think, where a lot of people did less conventional things. A lot of my friends living in the San Juan Islands worked what I would call like gig jobs. So they fished on boats in Alaska in the summer. They worked on farms in the summer. And then they had these winters off. And they always did really cool stuff. They traveled. A lot of them were surfers. I'm still hoping for my super cool surfer chick moment, but it's not here yet. But it really inspired me to want to do that. And I eventually saved and squirreled money away and figured out how to do it. How deep am I going on this question right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty interesting. For me, I grew up in the country, and, my dad was like, buy a house, save some money, put that saved money in a mattress, and then just keep filling the mattress. And then when you filled that mattress with money, buy another mattress. So that was my dad's, my family's kind of inspiration for how to live your future, was to hunker down, buy a farm, save your money, have a bunch of kids, surround that farm with a white picket fence, and that was the deal. So, the only thing that I could really see outside of that was like movies like Swiss Family Robinson, and then the movie that comes out every year, which is the woman that's the writer or the editor of this magazine, and she's traveling all over the place, and she goes to Paris and she falls in love. And so all of my inspiration kind of came from television shows, and I just really couldn't imagine what it would be like to take that first step. And so when I met somebody that asked me if I wanted to go treasure hunting, I jumped all over it. And it was just about taking the first step. And I think that would be my biggest piece of advice to anyone out there that's looking to do something that seems wild and crazy, is to just take the first step and see how that feels. And what gave me the courage and the bravery to take that first step was telling myself that I didn't have to take a second step, that I could just take that first step and that was enough. And every little bit that I did as I went along and made this dream of mine a reality was telling myself, okay, just do this one more small thing towards that goal that you want. And if it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't feel sustainable, you can always turn around and walk the other direction. So that's what it was for me. That's how I kind of got myself out of that, paralysis by analysis, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, backing up real quick, I also grew up kind of with the same. My parents were like, buy a house, get a job, get married. I tried those things and they didn't work out for me. So I started at an older age, I think, trying to do all this. I was like mid-30s by the time I decided to like pull the trigger on adventuring. And I saw mostly couples doing it, and I decided I could still try it myself. But there's a lot of fear in that, and it's kind of the same. Like, take your first step is your hardest step, but you got to do it, because otherwise you're just going to wonder, where that step would have led you if you had taken it and you didn't.
Yeah, it's so true. And when you're younger, you think that you're going to choose this career and this path, and that's going to be the thing that you do for most of your life. And I don't think that that's most people's reality. I think we have many careers and many identities through life, and we get really, at least I did, like hung up on this idea that whatever I chose, I couldn't change. And now at 40, I realize that life is ever changing, and this thing that we've chosen to do, whatever it is going to change, and it's not forever. And that's great, because if it's not working out, you can make a different choice and go in a different direction. But definitely follow those whims, because that's the juice of life. It's been scary. I often sit out on the bow or in the cockpit and I'm like, why am I doing this again? It's scary. It's cold.
You're bored.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm bored. Yeah, but I think that what sailing has given me, though, I do have to say this, in those moments of boredom, is a lot of time to reflect on the whys of life, why we do things. And I think, like, for me, the why of anything is, how do I stay inspired? How do I live an inspired life? And not necessarily to inspire others. I mean, that's a great byproduct, but how do I keep myself inspired? Like, how do I keep noticing beautiful things? Like, how do I keep noticing the sunrise and the sunset? How do I keep having these moments of wonderment? And for me, that means travel. So I don't know what that means for you guys out there. Maybe it's, raising children or, creating art. I'm not sure, but I think that staying inspired is the key kind of to life. And I think everyone's trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I think in these moments of discomfort when we put ourselves into positions of stepping onto a boat for the first time and moving, or driving from Canada to Mexico by yourself, is where so much growth happens in that discomfort. And I think that kind of helps, at least for me, it helps slow me down to make sure that, like, what is inspiring me? Why am I doing this? I always want to make sure that I'm looking at things through, like, the eyes of a child. Like, I want to be, like, constantly in awe. Like, I want to be like, oh my gosh, there's a hummingbird over here, and laugh because I'm covered in dirt. And I don't know, it's lost my point to that a little bit, but the discomfort is where we grow. And that is, I think, when we start to realize, when we get to, like, the next level and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I get to be here. I get to be on a boat watching dolphins glow in the bioluminescence. And
those it's like Fantasia. People always ask me, what is the coolest moment? Can you tell me, like, your highlight of sailing? Like, what, sailing all over the world, like, what is the coolest moment? And man, I tell you what, like, the coolest moments, I don't have the words to describe. So I always share, like, my second coolest moments, because how do you even begin to paint the story, like paint the picture and really bring someone into that moment of dolphins, like, torpedoing through bioluminescence with, like, these weird Fantasia tales in, like, the blackest night, as you are, just losing hope because there's this veil of fog coming over the horizon, and you ask yourself, will the sun ever come up again, because this 4-hour watch seems like an eternity. I mean, I don't know, like, there isn't the words to describe. I have one, like, this one moment, and I never tell the story because I feel like I'm going to butcher it, but I'm in Costa Rica, and we meet these locals, and they ask us if we want to do this, I don't even know what you call it, like, dolphin boarding. It's not waterboarding dolphins, don't worry. But you take this little, like, kind of like a kickboard, but it's wood and there's holes in it. And you put a snorkel mask on, and then they drag you behind the boat as if they're trolling with humans, which,
oh my God,
later I found out that they actually are. Like, I told myself that dolphins will protect you and no sharks will eat you, but you're actually, like, you're a human Rapala. You are dragged behind the boat, and all of these spinner dolphins come, and I'm talking thousands of spinner dolphins. Like, the ones you see on the top are just, like, the tip of the iceberg, literally. And every time that you tip the board down, you go deeper. And these dolphins are, like, you can boop their nose with your finger. Like, they're just eyeball to eyeball with you. And you have this ability to kind of swim the way that they're swimming because of the way this board is designed. It's like just a piece of plank that they've drilled these holes in, and they're dragging you at this, 5 knots or whatever. And it was the most incredible thing that I've ever experienced in my life. And when I say it to you, it sounds simple, but you're swimming with dolphins, but it was different because you're kind of swimming at their speed and you become one with them. And it was just, you could hear them whistling and talking to each other. And it was just this moment of like, wow, this is why I'm sitting in the storms. This is why I choose all of those uncomfortable moments. And I have to tell you also something personal. This comes from a person that is super afraid of the water.
Yes.
Just let that hit for a second.
Seriously, she's a cat.
Yeah.
Like in and out if it's, yeah.
I want to love it, but the people that have known me for a long time and have sailed with me a lot call me a frigate. They're like, you're always on the water, but you're never in the water. It's really the only tattoo I've ever considered. But yeah, so this was like a big leap for me to jump in the water and do this dolphin boarding. I don't know. It's illegal also because it's super dangerous. I found this out later, but as an American, we think that if something's dangerous, there's going to be rules around it. But this doesn't apply in foreign countries. So I've done things like crocodile cage diving, jumping off the Blue Crons Bridge in South Africa, great white sharks in Mossel Bay. And looking back at like their version of OSHA,
yeah.
It's non-existent. They're like, yeah, if you want to do this, you should be able to do it. And I really like that attitude, but it's not as safe as one would hope or think or tell themselves.
I don't think there's a lot of backup plans.
No, there's not like backup plans. And, when I was shark diving in Mossel Bay in South Africa, they're like, okay, the most dangerous part is getting in and out of the cage. And they're explaining this to me. And I'm dressed like a giant seal in a big, thick, like 9mm wetsuit. And they're like hoisting me over the side of the boat. And it's like seen from Jaws is like passing through my head is this like 20-foot great white shark with its big pectoral fins. It's just like a boss just going by the boat, kind of eyeballing me, looking at the tuna, decides what's looking more delicious. And I'm thinking these guys are super pro, and they are, but they're stuffing me in this cage really fast so the shark doesn't like grab me out of the top of the cage. And I'm watching this video back later and I'm like, I probably should have thought this through a little bit more, but you do things once or twice in life just to make sure that you don't want to do it again. And I have to say, crocodile cage diving is at the top of my list of things that I don't necessarily want to do again.
Yeah, after just doing the croc, what I'm calling the croc walk through Manzanilla. Where we just were, has an estuary sanctuary.
I don't know. I think they just put a fence up to make sure that like crocs didn't eat an inordinate amount of people.
Fence is generous.
Yeah. There was like, it's rotted out at the bottom. And that is in actually, if you guys don't mind me plugging this, a video coming up on Sailing the Sloan Star next week. So definitely check out the Croc Walk. That's a great title.
Thank you. It feels real off the books. You pay a whopping 50 pesos. And then at first I was really excited and like, oh my gosh, they're everywhere. And then I started looking at my surroundings as I got farther into this situation. We're walking on this boardwalk estuary and there is rusted out chain link for the side fencing. And then I'm walking on these kind of like rubber kitchen mat type deals that have been put down because they're covering the rotted out wooden planks that we're walking on.
They have a sign that says no small pets. And I'm like,
or children.
No, there was no sign about children.
Oh, that's right. Because there was 200. It was like 25 pesos or something.
25 pesos for kids. And I'm like, like a child Violet size could definitely fall through like a number of places there. And this is the thing that my nightmares are made of. So I'm like, you guys go ahead, take some really good video for me. Yes, I'm going to wait out here. I mean, some of these crocodiles were like 14 feet long.
Huge. And they like, you'd see the bubbles before you see them.
I just can't. I can't. You can see one of these crocodiles at this, if we're calling it a sanctuary or human protective services. I don't know what we're calling it.
Neither.
But in this last video that we just released yesterday on Sailing the Sloan Star on YouTube, and these things are just massive. But we really get into the croc walk next week on Sunday.
So circling back, after seeing those up close and personal, I can't imagine what it was like to get into a cage and let them poke around at you.
No, so they're throwing chunks of chicken at the cage so that the crocodile will get closer to the cage so that I can experience this magnificence of crocodiles. And the crocodile is not interested in the chicken at all. He's just looking at me. And these like squares on the croc cage are big enough. If the crocodile just turns his head to the side, he can like get in there and like take my hand off. It was just, I'm screaming, let me out, let me out. I'm on the top of the cage like a canary. And these guys in Oudtshoorn, South Africa, are just hysterically laughing, not pulling me out. They're like, gold medal for bravery in their South African accents. And I'm just horrified. It was the entertainment of the week, I'm sure. But yeah, 1 star.
I'm glad you survived. Jeez.
Yeah. I went on this like week of extreme vacation sports, if you want to call it that.
It's like a third of a life crisis or something.
Exactly. So that was pretty interesting. And I don't need to do things like that as I travel to stay inspired. But I was with someone at the time that was very encouraging of these extreme travel. I'm going to call them extreme travel sports.
Yeah.
You know, like...
There's something, you have to be sporty to get into a cage.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a thing. So yeah, I mean, some people say that traveling in Mexico is pretty dangerous just in and of itself.
Oh man. I think traveling anywhere can be dangerous. Traveling in Seattle, where I grew up, is super dangerous. So I think that there's some things, I think that things are blown out of proportion, at least personally I do, about traveling in Mexico. I think that you just do like you do anywhere. You keep awareness about you. You don't travel down a dark alley at night by yourself. But I will say that the Mexican culture is generally so friendly and so jovial and helpful. And I have found this country to be overwhelmingly welcoming.
Yeah, I could say the same. I've really enjoyed Mexican culture quite a bit, maybe a little too much. Yeah, definitely. You know, coming up as we get down towards Panama, for those of you who are just joining us, we are on our way to Panama to do the Panama Canal. There is a place that I have read about on Noon Site, which is a popular site for sailors to kind of follow what's going on in the world. And I've heard some things, I've seen some things about piracy down there. And typically it's fishermen that will get on boats and steal things. But there's been some people that have been held at gunpoint down there. And every time they've been alone, so they haven't been with a group of boats. So we're looking at maybe buddy boating a little bit, since we are a bunch of girls and a baby. And as the person planning and captaining the boat, I am a little bit nervous as we head that direction, if I'm completely honest.
Which part is it? Chiapas?
Panama.
Oh, Panama. I thought you were talking about Mexico stuff.
No, so when you start to cross over from the West Coast, there's like a little place that you kind of, it's a spot you drop the anchor. And there's a few dangerous places, but in this bay in Panama, there are some spots that you probably don't want to be like a lone sailboat out there. So we've been considering buddy boating, which I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
You know, safety in numbers. And there's some camaraderie there, which is cool. And parts sharing, if you're following us over on Sailing to Lone Star.
What parts do you have?
You know, I have tons of parts on the boat, but oftentimes not the ones that I need. So yeah, there's some definite caution that I've been feeling about heading south. But, you know, I think that also has to do with feeling ultimately responsible for making the final decision about where we drop the hook. So that's valid. Yeah, that's been a little bit of a thing. So yeah, headed to Panama. We're not going to stop in El Salvador. There is this kind of cool area that you surf over the sandbar, and you have to get a pilot boat. But recently the pilot boat, I guess, wasn't paying attention, and someone sunk their, I think, Hudson 50, which is really similar to Houdini, the boat that we're on right now, which is a 51 Formosa. And I'm like, you know what? I have to, number one, be in a real cowgirl kind of mood to want to take that on anyway. And number two, like, El Salvador, I don't know if it's like that friendly right now.
Yeah, I dip into the news a little bit just because I want to know the like cliff notes of where we're going. But yeah, I don't imagine super. I did have some friends that are down there surfing right now, and they said it was great. But I'm more like after hearing the stories of the people surfing through,
You surf over a sandbar.
yeah,
So you wait
into
for
an
a
estuary.
big wave, and then you ride the big wave with your sailboat as a surfboard. And you have to follow a pilot boat at the same time that you choose this wave to push you over the sandbar. And if you like miss which way the pilot boat goes, and also the sandbar is always shifting.
Yeah.
So
And also Houdini doesn't just like 0 to 60.
no. No, she's a big
She's
slow girl.
quick.
Yeah. So I think that we're gonna go ahead and skip that one,
Valid.
which kind of takes us from Guatemala all the way to Costa Rica. Which, if I'm looking up here at that leg, that is about 357 nautical miles, plus or minus. So that's going to be, we get about 140 nautical miles every 24 hours on this boat. So it'll be like a 3 day, I think. So it'll be good. It'll be good. I've been considering picking up maybe a little more crew, possibly another girl off of Find a Crew online.
Mhm.
We actually interviewed some pretty cute babes that might be interested in coming. It's always interesting bringing other people on the boat because it mixes up the dynamic, which can be a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, I think we've seen both. So
Yeah, definitely. And then also you're managing a lot of emotions, and guys are, for better or worse, like really good at stuffing their emotions, and girls not so much. And so there's a lot more sensitivity that is necessary there. And I'm a real shoot it straight kind of person, and so sometimes that's misinterpreted. So it's been a little bit of a challenge. It's been helping me find like softness and femininity, and then also leadership, which is something that I'm constantly reading about. It's fascinating to me, leadership, especially as a woman. So yeah, it's been a journey, as Jordan likes to say.
mm-hmm. It always is. But yeah, I think occasional extra crew would be helpful for some of our bigger passages.
You really get to know someone on a boat. Like all the things.
Yeah.
Like people don't eat or sleep or use the bathroom without you knowing about it. And,
It's very intimate.
It's very intimate. So yeah, that is definitely a challenge. It's also really beautiful because you build these like really deep and lasting friendships. And you learn like where people's limits are and how you can support them. And that's been really neat and cool. And it's been great really sharing this experience with other women. I've really enjoyed it. And Houdini's a big boat, so we can kind of get away from each other. We each have our own cabin. We could probably have one more person, maybe two, and be pretty comfortable. So yeah, I don't know. That might be on the horizon. But we started this journey out wanting to do corporate women's retreats, which I still want to do. But I feel like to do a luxury corporate women's retreat, we'd need a catamaran, like a luxury catamaran. So we stepped back from that project. And if you've listened to any of the other podcasts, we talk about that a little bit. So that may still be on the horizon. But right now, we're going to get this boat through the Panama Canal to the beautiful waters of the Caribbean and Bahamas, which I was just watching Bobby on Sailing Doodles. And he said...
Are you talking about permits?
Yeah.
Permits have gone up a bunch. And look at us being behind on the research.
I know. And
that.
I actually just spoke to Searle. And for those of you that follow me over on Sailing Miss Lone Star, he reached out and he was telling me that it's $1,000 to drop the hook in some of these places in the Caribbean. I don't know if that's true, but he's also getting ready to possibly captain a 90-foot sloop. And I'm super proud of him. He's really come a long way and really grown as a captain and a leader in his own right. And I'm, super proud of what he's doing over there. The boat that I don't know if I can say the boat that he's going on, it's Sorcerer. If you guys follow me on the Daily Show, you guys have seen Sorcerer with Charlie quite a bit. It's beautiful 1990s sloop.
We got to circle back to these prices for a minute.
Okay,
just quick overview. So for Houdini to drop the anchor, it's going to be $350 a day. For the source.
In what island?
Dropping anchor in the Bahamas now involves new mandatory.
Per day? And don't want to give people misinformation here.
Yeah.
All right, so we're in AI overview.
Yeah, so
And-
take this with a grain of salt, but it's saying $1,500 for a boat over 100 feet.
Okay, so $1,000 a night for a 90-foot sloop.
1,500 is almost 2,000.
For the anchor, I mean, we're not even talking about water and services. That's crazy. We're going to have to take a deep dive into this and figure out what this is, because that's really not sustainable for a lot of cruisers. I'm sad for the people in the Bahamas. That beeping there, for those of you that are following us over on YouTube, we've just lost battery on our camera. So maybe that is the cue for us to actually jump into our own bilge and start fixing that, because we have some other breakages on Houdini. We have to restuff the stuffing box and fix the high bilge and get ready to go. Yeah, and get ready to go tomorrow. So we're going to head out to Oaxaca tomorrow, I hope, at 7 a.m. unless we find something else that needs to be fixed.
Nah.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening and for watching. And we will see you next time on Go See the World podcast.
All right.